Special word of appreciation also to the Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Research of the State of Palestine. I'm not sure if you are hearing us, Dr. Basri Saleh.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. We are very also grateful for your presence and willingness to participate in this event, and of course, as your responsibility as Deputy Chair of the Ministry of Higher Education and Research, I hope this is a starting point for cooperation, to strengthen our cooperation and actually to promote potential cooperation, not only in research and education, but also, as I said at the beginning, in civic engagement at large. I also want to extend my appreciation to the 4 speakers who will be afterwards in our roundtable. Professor Nazmin Al-Masri, not sure if you are hearing, are you with us? From the Islamic University of Gaza. It's actually not the first time that he addresses to our audience, because we had a previous meeting where he was actually very, I would say, brave. Not only brave, but also inspiring voice, full of ideas, projects for the future, despite what is happening in Gaza Strip. So thank you also for joining us and share with us. Also thank you to Dr. Mohamed Ali Abzouri, which is here. He's a lecturer at the Arab American University in Palestine and also PhD graduate at the Faculty of Medicine here of the University in Porto, so he's also almost Portuguese, half Portuguese, I can say. Your knowledge of both countries and regions and higher education and research systems is also very important. Thank you for joining us. And finally, Dr. Ayan Abuoda, which I hope is also listening online, who's currently a medical doctor at the Hospital of Santarém. So I think also Portuguese Palestine nationality, living in Portugal for a long time. It's also a great pleasure to have you with us, even if remotely. I hope that next time in presence, your long-term experience and work in Portugal and in also helping in humanitarian cooperation with those countries is also inspiring. So thank you for that. And the final word to our colleague, Dr. Damien Ross, who's here. It's a colleague from the Faculty of Arts. It's actually not the first time he's also at this, in this same auditorium. He organized a previous meeting dedicated to cooperation between actually our university and his work with Glasgow University and the Gaza Islamic University. So thank you also for joining and for sharing your experience on cooperation. It's important to notice that this is not the first step. There were steps that were done before, and we are very willing to help continuing these steps forward. A word also to Mateus. Mateus Nunes is our student representative. Is deputy chair of the Students Association. And I think it's very important, although this is unfortunately, this is a day of classes, so regular classes are ongoing. But many students are here despite that, so thank you, Mateus, for joining and also sharing what all the students from the faculty are also doing regarding potential cooperation between our 2 countries. And I also like to take this opportunity to publicly acknowledge the presence of the new elected rector of our university, Professor Pedro Nuno Teixeira, who's with us. Thank you for joining. Can I call you, first of all, congratulations. And I will use the Coimbra expression because, as you know, I studied in Coimbra. Congratulations, magnificent rector of the university, on your election as the highest representative of the university. And I think not only for me, but for many of us, your presence here is also a clear sign of a university leadership that is committed to openness, to engagement, and to global responsibility. So thank you for being here today. It means a lot to us. Let me also say that when almost finishing my term as director, dean of this faculty. But one of my mottos of my candidacy 4 years ago was having a faculty which is open to the world. And I think this is exactly one excellent example of what a faculty opens to the world means. It means a faculty and a university that is, of course, dedicated to teaching, learning, research, but it's much more than that. There's a responsibility on all of us to look at the world, to discuss it, to reflect it, and to intervene. If not us, who else? So that's why I think we are here today, and I think a true university must interact meaningfully with the social context, locally, nationally, and globally. And the music is also fantastic. And I think also universities have a duty to promote democratic values, human rights, freedom of expression, academic freedom, while remaining spaces of inclusion, respect for diversity, and human dignity. I think all of those topics are important today. So these universal principles, which are also in the United Nations Charter, which was written over 80 years ago, require continuous commitment from all democratic institutions, including, as I said, universities. This is why, now I'm almost done, but I need to say also this. This is why our faculty, Faculty of Psychology and Education Sciences, decided a while ago to release formal statements about what was happening in Palestine. In the first statement, we condemned the atrocities committed on October 7, as well as Israel's disproportionate military response, and called for an end of the conflict. In a second statement, almost a year after, we considered what is happening in terms of the humanitarian tragedy and imminent threat to more than 2 million people in the Gaza Strip. We called for immediate cessation of Israeli military actions in Gaza. But, of course, saying this is relatively easy. In those statements, and I quote, we also say, the government bodies of the faculty, and this is also important, it was not only the dean of the faculty, the executive board, it was all the boards of the faculty, including Students' Association, call upon the international community to assume its responsibilities and to uphold international law and the United Nations resolutions establishing the creation of 2 independent states, initiating negotiations for their effective implementation. But more than that, we further express unconditional solidarity with all innocent victims of this conflict, and we affirm its full availability within our means and areas of expertise to support efforts to rebuild and strengthen education, health, research institutions in Palestine. So we have formed a commitment, and that's why we are here today to starting discussing this commitment. So more than 2.5 years after the beginning of this tragedy, we remain firmly committed in acting to the best of our abilities to help rebuild capacity in the areas where we could be of help. And to conclude, I will say that this commitment is precisely why we have organized this public session. That's why we are here. We hope it will be a memorable and inspiring session, but more importantly than being a memorable session, that will represent the first step in a sustained and meaningful and fruitful cooperation between 2 friendly people and academic communities. So again, thank you very much, Madam Ambassador. Thank you very much, all the speakers and every one of you. And I wish you an excellent event this afternoon. Thank you very much.
We will now like to invite Mateus Nunes, Vice President of Students Association of FPCEUP, to take the floor.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to FPCEUP, to distinguished diplomatic and academic figures visiting us today from Palestine, to the researchers and healthcare professionals present here, and to all fellow students and professors. It is a great honor to speak on behalf of FPCEUP Students Association at this session, which we are proud to host at our faculty. Today we gather around a theme that transcends geographical and disciplinary boundaries, strategic cooperation between Palestine and Portugal within a shared agenda of education, research and civic engagement. This is precisely the kind of dialogue that a faculty like ours has the responsibility to host and promote. As students of psychology and education sciences, we know that knowledge does not exist in a vacuum. It is always situated, always committed to the world in which we live. And today, more than ever, the world asks us to be capable of building bridges of solidarity, dialogue and cooperation between people with different histories but common aspirations, dignity, justice and universal access to education and health. The Students' Association believes that the role of the university does not end in the classroom. The university is also a space for active citizenship, critical thinking and commitment to the great issues of our time. This is why we support and value initiatives like this, which invite us to imagine more collaborative futures. The presence of high-level representations today is in itself a powerful message that cooperation is possible and necessary, and academia has a central role to play in this process. It is our hope that this afternoon marks the beginning of a concrete path of academic partnerships, joint research process, and civic engagement networks that bring together students and institutions from both countries. We thank the board of FPCEUP for their vision in promoting this space. We thank all the speakers for their presence, and we thank everyone in attendance for choosing to be here today. May this be an afternoon of genuine listening, mutual learning, and commitment to a better future. Thank you.
We will now move on to the second part of this session, featuring Excellency Rawan Sulaiman, Ambassador of the State of Palestine to Portugal, who will deliver the opening keynote address. The Dean of FPCEUP, Pedro Nobre, will do a brief introduction to our main guest.
I promise to be briefer now, so although I have to say a few words, Madam Ambassador, I served as Ambassador of the State of Palestine to Portugal since October 2024. September. She holds a degree in English language and literature and has a long diplomatic career within the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Before her positioning in Lisbon, she was based in The Hague in the Netherlands for 8 years approximately, where she acted as a permanent representative to several key international bodies, including the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the International Criminal Court, and the Permanent Court of Arbitration, all of three in The Hague. She previously served as Assistant Minister for Multilateral Affairs, and as I know, she had a very important role leading negotiations for a landmark comprehensive agreement with the OLC, between Palestine and the OLC, which was signed in 2015. Congratulations for that achievement. Over nearly 3 decades in the Foreign Service, Ambassador Sulaiman played a central role in building Palestine's multilateral treaty architecture, in coordinating engagement with United Nations-linked institutions and international organizations, and promoting diplomatic strategies centered on international law. Upon assuming her post in Lisbon, she focused on deepening political, academic, and civil society cooperation between Portugal and Palestine. And I think this is also a very huge achievement because during her recent tenure in Portugal, Portugal formally recognized the State of Palestine in September 2025. So congratulations also for that, a very good, excellent, extraordinary achievement. And she upgraded the Palestinian mission in Lisbon to a full embassy. Again, congratulations for that. Ambassador Soleimani publicly framed this recognition as a historical and courageous step reinforcing international law and Palestinian self-determination. Again, thank you very much for joining us. It's an honor to have you, Madam Ambassador.
Assalamu alaikum. Botar. Good evening. Distinguished guests, dear colleagues and friends, it is with deep honor that I stand before you today at the University of Porto. This iconic and historic institution, a beacon of knowledge, critical thought, and academic freedom. To be here today in a space that fosters dialogue, expression, and free exchange of ideas is profoundly meaningful, especially at a time when such spaces are more important and needed than ever. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude for this university to host such an important event. It means a lot to us, and I'm overwhelmed with the audience, with all those who are present. My deepest appreciation goes to Professor Pedro No, Dean of the Faculty of Psychology and Education Sciences, whose vision and commitment made this gathering possible. Thank you for inviting me to speak about Palestine and about our ties that connect our story to Portugal, ties rooted in history, solidarity, and shared humanity. I'm truly honored to welcome Deputy Minister of Higher Education, my friend, Dr. Basri Saleh, joining us from Ramallah. Your presence today across distance and difficulty carries deep significance. It reminds us of the role of education in sustaining hope, connection, and resilience. It is also a moment of personal pride to share this space with such distinguished speakers, including fellow Palestinians whose journeys inspire me deeply, and Portuguese colleagues whose solidarity, scholarship, and engagement reflect the values of dialogue and shared humanity that bring us together today. To all of you present here today, thank you. Your presence matters in times marked by hardship and uncertainty. Choosing to listen, to engage, and to stand together is a meaningful step, and it gives hope. I was asked to speak about Palestine and our relations with Portugal. I can't do this without speaking about the current situation in my country, as this is a responsibility on me as an ambassador of the State of Palestine here. As we stand here today, just days from commemorating our Nakba, we are witnessing history repeat itself. We are living in real time the echoes of 1948 and 1967 all over again. Images of dispossession, forced displacement, massacres, and despair unfold before our eyes as innocent civilians flee their homes, their lands, and everything they know. But this time, the scale of destruction is overwhelming, more brutal, more devastating, and more inhuman. Nothing is sacred anymore. No one has been spared. Men, women, children, doctors, nurses, paramedics, teachers, humanitarian workers, UN staff, and journalists. Many remain buried beneath the rubble, their fate unknown. Palestinian death has become so normalized that we are reduced to numbers. I am a refugee from Jaffa. My story did not begin in exile. It began by the sea, in a city full of life, orange groves, and possibility. My family did not live by choice, like more than 750,000 Palestinians in 1948. They were forced out, dispossessed, displaced, and denied the right of return. Our homes were taken, our villages erased, our history challenged, but our existence did not end. To speak of Nakba is not to dwell on history. It is to demand accountability. It is to insist that Palestinian lives are equal, that our humanity is not conditional, and that international law must mean something for all. No one on this earth is a child of a lesser God. The reality on the ground is devastating. In Gaza, after nearly 2 years of genocide, and it is genocide, we should dare to call it genocide. That's not only me who is saying this, that the ICJ who said that genocide is plausible in Gaza. The situation remains catastrophic. The ceasefire is fragile, and over 90% of Gaza has been destroyed. Homes, hospitals, schools, and vital infrastructure reduced to rubble. An entire population is struggling to survive amid unimaginable loss, displacement, and destruction. In the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, the situation is no less alarming. Settlement expansion and annexation continue in clear violation of international law, enriching an illegal occupation and eroding any remaining prospects for peace. Movement is severely restricted through checkpoints and over 1,000 iron gates that fragment Palestinian territory, isolate communities, and impose a regime of control sustained over every aspect of our daily life. This system does not simply limit movement. It obstructs access to healthcare, education, work, and family life. At the same time, settler violence escalates with near total impunity. In East Jerusalem, restrictions on religious freedom have reached unprecedented level. The Latin Patriarch, and for the first time in history, has been prevented from participating in Easter celebration, while access to Al-Aqsa Mosque has been restricted, including during the holy month of Ramadan. We are witnessing an unprecedented and dangerous escalation in rhetoric and policy. Calls for the death penalty against Palestinian political prisoners, promoted by figures such as Itamar Ben-Gvir, reflects a growing normalization of dehumanization rhetoric publicly celebrated within the Knesset. Compounding this reality is the severe financial crisis facing the Palestinian government, as our rightful tax revenues continue to be illegally withheld. Policies and statements by officials such as Smotrich have deepened this crisis, leaving institutions unable to function, preventing the government from meeting its basic obligations in health, education, and public sector's salaries. At the same time, statements suggesting that Palestinians must either accept this oppressive reality, leave their land, or face death present so-called options that are in reality threats to people's very existence. Let me be clear. This is not a conflict between two equal parties. It is a situation of belligerent military occupation, an illegal occupation sustained for decades through force, dispossession, and systematic denial of Palestinian rights. The 2024 advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice did not create a new reality. It confirmed what Palestinians have lived for generations, that the occupation is unlawful and must end immediately. Let me be equally clear that our problem is not with the Jewish faith whatsoever. Our problem is with the occupation and its illegal policies, and it will continue to be as such. The responsibility the ICJ advisory opinion left does not rest solely with Israel as an occupying power. It also rests with the international community, which cannot credibly uphold its commitment to international law while situation in Palestine continues without meaningful accountability. States cannot speak of human rights, justice, and a rule-based international order while occupation, collective punishment, and dispossession persist without effective action. Silence, inaction, and selective accountability do not create peace. They deepen injustice and impunity. If you ask me what the solution is, my answer is clear. There is no military solution to this unjust reality. Occupation cannot create peace, and violence cannot erase people's rights, identity, or attachment to their land. The belief that more force, more destruction, and more suffering will produce security is a dangerous illusion that has already cost countless lives. The only path forward is political, one that confronts the root cause by ending the occupation and by creating a genuine horizon based on freedom, justice, equality, and respect for international law. Peace cannot be treated as secondary anymore, or conditional, or even negotiable, while an entire people lives without freedom and dignity. Peace is not an act of charity, it is a right. Now I move to a dear part of my speech, to our relations with Portugal. As Professor Noble mentioned, this is a year and 10 months that I have been posted to this beautiful country. So what I say about this relation is unique. Our relationship with Portugal has steadily deepened over the decades, rooted in mutual respect, dialogue, and a shared belief in diplomacy and international legitimacy. Since the 80s, these ties have evolved through political engagement, official visits, and growing cultural and academic cooperation. Today, I stand before you as the 6th Palestinian ambassador to Portugal and the 2nd woman to hold this position with profound sense of responsibility and pride. Portugal's recognition of the State of Palestine marked a historic and principled decision that opened a new chapter in our bilateral relations, a relationship between two states grounded in mutual recognition, respect, and cooperation. This recognition was not merely symbolic. It represented a clear affirmation of the Palestinian people's legitimate right to self-determination and statehood in accordance with international law. It is an honor for me to have witnessed and carried forward this relationship during my term, including the meaningful moment of changing the embassy placard to reflect the recognition, this recognition, and to be officially introduced as the first ambassador of the State of Palestine to Portugal. That moment represented more than a diplomatic gesture. It was a reaffirmation of identity, legitimacy, and enduring friendship between our two people. Portugal has also distinguished itself through its commitment to multilateralism and to the protection of international legal order at a time when these principles are under increasing threat. Its support for the United Nations and the international institutions reflect a clear understanding that peace and security cannot be sustained without accountability and collective responsibility. Particularly significant has been Portugal's principled support for UNRWA and its mandate, at a moment when attempts were made to undermine or suspend support for the agency. Portugal maintained its commitment, recognizing UNRWA not only as a humanitarian lifeline for millions of Palestinian refugees, but also as an essential pillar of regional stability, human dignity, and international responsibility. Portugal's political support, along its financial and economic assistance, has been deeply valued by the Palestinian people. Equally important has been its investment in education, higher education, opening opportunities for many Palestinian students, researchers, and institutions. These are not acts of cooperation. They are strategic investment in people, knowledge, and the future. Looking ahead, there is a real potential to elevate Palestinian-Portuguese relations into a broader framework of strategic cooperation, especially in higher education, scientific research, culture exchange, and youth engagement and sustainable development. These partnerships did not build not only solidarity, but genuine mutual growth and shared progress. At the same time, this moment calls for more. As a member of the European Union, Portugal holds not only influence, but also responsibility to uphold international law consistently, to defend the credibility of the multilateral system, and to ensure that accountability is never selective. Bringing an end to the suffering of the Palestinian people requires principled, concrete action, political courage beyond declarations, and a collective European commitment to justice, dignity, freedom, and lasting peace. Speaking about Portugal, I cannot also but speak about the solidarity movement in Portugal, in which I express my deepest gratitude and admiration for the solidarity movement in Portugal, whose principled and heartfelt support for the Palestinian people have touched us in ways that words cannot fully capture. In some of the darkest and most painful moments, when Palestinians have endured unimaginable loss, displacement, and suffering, voices across Portugal continued to rise, not in silence or indifference, but in compassion, courage, and humanity. From students to academics to artists, trade unions, municipalities, activists, and many, many ordinary citizens, so many people in this country have stood beside us with sincerity and moral clarity, defending not only Palestinian rights, but the very values of justice, dignity, and human conscience. Your solidarity has reminded us that even in times of despair and pain, we are not alone. As I conclude, I would like to leave you not only with the weight of what I have shared, but with a sense of responsibility and of possibility. Because even in the darkest moment, Palestinian people have never lost their belief in justice. We have never abandoned our commitment to life, to dignity, and to the hope that one day we will get our freedom. And that hope rests in many ways with you, the young generation. You are studying in institutions that value knowledge, freedom of thought, and critical inquiry. These are not abstract principles. They are very powerful tools. Tools to question injustice, to challenge indifference, and to build bridges, while others build walls. History is not only something we inherit, it is something we shape. The choices you make, the values you defend, and the voices you choose to amplify will determine whether the future is defined by division or by justice. Thank you.
We now move on to the second keynote address of this session. Please welcome Basri Saleh, Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Research of Palestine. He will be introduced by Pedro Nobre.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador, for that inspiring, strong, heartfelt speech. It's my pleasure now to introduce, my honor to introduce the Deputy Minister of Ministry of Education, Higher Education and Research of the State of Palestine, Dr. Basri Saleh, holds a PhD in Education Management, Masters in Education Evaluation from the University of Jordan, and a second Masters in Education Planning and Management from the UNESCO Institute in Paris. He is the Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, as I said, since 2016. Before that, he worked as Director General for many departments in the Ministry of Education, and a major part of his duties is to contribute to the development of school and higher education system and scientific research in Palestine. He also serves as a board member of a number of councils and committees at the national and regional level, such as the Supreme Council for Creativity and Discrimination, the National School of Administration, and the Palestinian National Library, the Council of Higher Education, the Board of Trustees of the Palestine Technical University, and the University of Nablus for Vocational Education. Again, Dr. Basri Saleh, it's an honor for us to have you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your responsibility.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. I'm really thrilled and honored to speak before you and to give me this opportunity to really address this very distinguished gathering. Let me also thank you very much for really the initiative of conducting such a very important public session on Palestine and Portugal strategic cooperation, forward-looking agenda in education, research, and civic engagement. I really would like to thank you, Dr. Pedro Nobre, the Dean of Faculty for Psychology and Education Science, for really making this gathering possible, and definitely for all the colleagues and friends that are working with you. And a special mention to my friend and dear colleague, Her Excellency Ambassador Rawan Sulaiman, who proven in all the positions that she holds that she is really representing the cause of Palestinian, and for the very well, speech that was delivered a while ago, and for her excellent really effort to make my presence today possible. And really, I would like also to welcome His Excellency, the newly elected Director for Porto University, and for all members of the board of the faculty, and for their presence and for active engagement in such a session. And let me also welcome my fellow colleagues who are going to take the floor to speak and to give and to contribute to this session. I'm really pleased to have this opportunity of discussion, and I'm sure that this discussion today will add to the effort that was mentioned by Her Excellency to really contribute to further collaboration between Portugal and Palestine, especially in the area of education and higher education, scientific research and civic engagement. Today, maybe my role is easier compared to what I have heard from the speakers before me, because I wanted to concentrate on the higher education perspectives and sectors today. And it's important today to talk about that, especially in the context of suffering and hardship that we are having in Palestine, that is really influencing the perspectives of good education that we look forward to have for our students and our children. It's important to highlight that when we talk about higher education in Palestine, we are not only talking about an academic sector. We are talking about a pillar of our national resilience, our social stability, our youth empowerment, and our future recovery. This is the actual, perspectives of higher education in Palestine. And therefore, it's important to highlight that today, all these angles, all these pillars are really threatened by what's happening today in Palestine as a result of the measures of the occupation. Today, 250,000 Palestinians who are really the number of students studying in 52 higher education institutions in West Bank, Gaza, are the actual direct victims of the ongoing situation in Palestine. 88,000 of them are in Gaza. They were not able to really meet with their academic supervisors or to enjoy the facilities of their higher education institutions as a result of the comprehensive destruction and genocide that has happened and is happening even today in Gaza. In the current context, I think protecting higher education in Palestine means protecting young people's future and preserving national human capital and maintaining the institutional capacity needed for recovery and development. This is important and very important to us because our message today is very clear. Supporting Palestinian higher education today is both humanitarian responsibility and strategic investment in resilience, recovery, and development. That is because we are fighting in two folds. The first fold has to do with the, keeping ourselves and our institutions alive despite the challenges that we have on the ground. Destruction, shilling and killing, obstacles in front of students and teachers, and economical hardships that are really imposed on the Palestinian society at large, which affects directly the momentum and the activity of higher education institutions and the mobility of students and teachers. That is one fold. And the other fold is that we cannot really live without being clear about the future of our kids, our students. I mean, we cannot see ourselves as Palestinians with any possibility to have a gap in terms of quality graduates. between Palestinian graduates and the rest of the region and the world. And you know that in the very hard situations, in very complicated situations in the past, Palestine was able to deliver quality graduates that were able to contribute to their society, and they were able to join other communities, other regions, other countries, and other higher education institutions to continue their studies, and they were successful. And therefore, it's important also to guarantee, even in the middle of the crisis, that we are able to provide the best education that we can for our youngsters in higher education institutions. Gaza today, as mentioned by Her Excellency, is facing a real disaster, which also affects higher education sector. It is really facing unprecedented humanitarian, academic, and institutional devastations under the ongoing genocide war. Recent UNESCO report, and that report also was verified and validated by many other international institutions, have really confirmed the 90% damage, partial or total damage, of all higher education capabilities that we are having in Gaza as a result of the last 2.5 years war. It affected severely classrooms, laboratories, libraries, ICT infrastructure, records, everything, equipments and everything. And before that, the actual, difficult result was, the loss of more than 200 professors and scientists who were really a very important asset for the Palestinian higher education and scientific research in Gaza. They were all targeted and killed by the Israeli, military operations in Gaza, and hundreds of students, definitely. So today, it's important to highlight possibilities to keep things really moving despite all that. And really, I wanted to acknowledge in front of you that from day one, we at the Palestinian government, Ministry of Education and Higher Education, with the close collaboration and discussion with our colleagues in Gaza, even when they were really living in tents and displaced, we were discussing possibilities to maintain higher education system in Gaza. And fortunately enough, today, I wanted to really tell you that all 19 higher education institutions, 7 universities, and 12 community colleges and university colleges are functioning in Gaza today, but remotely without any kind of infrastructure. They are trying to keep their students and to move forward and to rebuild their institutions in order to really deliver what they are hopefully able to deliver despite all difficult situations. And therefore, it's important to really highlight possibilities for the future and immediate needs that are really important today to provide whatever assistance that is possible for our colleagues and brothers in Gaza to make their life easier and to really help them achieving their goals in maintaining their institutions and start the possibility to move forward. And that is also the situation not far from the situation in the West Bank, where all the confiscations and checkpoints and hardship in economic situation are directly affecting higher education institutions, because very limited mobility for students and professors, not only internally, but also with the rest of the world. Very limited resources available for universities in order to pay the salaries of teachers. and also hardships in the economical situation of the students of the West Bank, which not enabling them to really get back to their universities and pay their tuition fees. These are all only, part of the suffering that we are witnessing in the West Bank. And therefore, it is important to highlight several angles and points of possible cooperation that we are trying our best to put in front of us and our international, local and international partners, which might also help in facilitating the future of the higher education and scientific research in Palestine. The first, and from my point of view, the most important when it comes to Gaza, is to deal with the financial fragility of universities. And that is important because it is safeguarding the staff from being not able to fulfill their daily requirements. And we are really spending a lot of time and effort in order to make that happen. Not only inside Palestine with Palestinians from outside, with institutions in the Arab region, in the Islamic region, and also with our friends and colleagues and partners in Europe and elsewhere. This is very important pillar for institutions in Gaza, also to try to renovate the partially damaged premises that would enable them to rebuild themselves. So it's important to make that one of the major elements for future development. And second, it is important to keep and maintain regular teaching and practical training. And the issue of practical training is really important. And we are trying to find solutions because in medical studies, actually, you need hospitals. And for engineers, you need, workshops. And that is not easily founded and also totally destroyed. And therefore, we are trying to really mobilize resources and some digital alternatives that would enable students to perform practical training in some disciplines and make sure that also some institutions are available for hands-on experience when those are needed, not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. And second, it's important to expand the academic mobility and international exchange programs. And there are many platforms for that today. And I'm really proud to say that Palestine is spending a lot of effort in order to be in front line of really international exchange program. Horizon is one example. Erasmus is another example. And I think collaboration between Palestinian higher education institutions and higher education institutions in Portugal are only examples of the opportunities to expand collaboration in so many areas when it comes to really academic mobility and exchange programs. And there are, I think, some colleagues who are here today to speak before you who are really part of these programs, and we wanted to expand possibilities not only with West Bank, but also with Gaza. And I think today EU programs are really available for Palestine to be utilized, and we are working very hard, and hopefully this is going to be one major aspect of collaboration and enhancing collaboration between Palestine and Portugal. The other element is the possibility to enhance capacity to invest in modernization and quality improvement for higher education. And that includes the modernization of laboratories, but also curricula and the training of academic capacity for higher education institutions. And I think there are rooms of collaboration into that direction. And I wanted to say that it is part of this, from our point of view, is to see possibility to align programs with the labor market needs because of the huge unemployment phenomenon in Palestine for graduates of higher education institutions. Today, I'm sorry to say, only 15% of the graduates from all higher education institutions are able to really get employed by the government or by the private sector. So 80 to 85% are really in need of possibilities to align with the labor market needs. And this high unemployment is one of the major possibility for us to concentrate on creativity and innovations, and to mobilize resources for youngsters to really get employed or self-employed, and also to work outside Palestine. And finally, I wanted to say it's important to concentrate on psychosocial programs. And this is very important for the well-being of the Palestinian students as a result of the traumatized atmosphere and the disaster that is happening really in Gaza as a result of the genocide in Gaza. We are doing a lot of work in order to train supervisors and academic staff in order to be able to communicate with their students and take care about their well-being. I really would like to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to really address this topic, and also to announce our willingness to work with you. I mean, you could be a very important model for really enlargement of potentials for cooperation between Palestinian higher education institutions and higher education institutions in Portugal. And I think Porto University is, popular and famous with its capacity in order to really provide solutions, and also to shed light on possibilities for the future, utilizing all the possible opportunities that we have in place. Thank you very much.
Next, we will move on to our roundtable, focusing on the theme Building Cooperation between Portugal and Palestine, Education, Health, and Civic Engagement. This roundtable will be moderated by Sofia Marques da Silva, Director of the Department of Education Sciences, and Catarina Grande, Vice Director of the Department of Psychology. The invited speakers include Nazmi Abdel Salam Al-Masri, Mohammad Ali Abzuri, Yahya Abuada, Damian Ross. We kindly invite the presents to take their seats at the table.
I was just going to add that while we are continuing to the next session, if there are questions to our previous speakers, to Madam Ambassador and to Deputy Minister, I think we still have a few minutes. So please, if there's any question, let us know. No questions? No? So let's continue.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this public session, which is a part of our celebration of FPCEUP. And may this anniversary also mark a deeper commitment to international solidarity and to the role of education in advancing dignity and justice. This roundtable has three purposes: to give voice to people who are building concrete bridges between Portugal and Palestine, in education, in health, and in civic life, to understand how those bridges work in practice, what succeeds, what is difficult, and what is still missing, and to reflect together on the role that higher education institutions can play, not only in academic cooperation, but also in civic engagement and solidarity. So now Sofia is going to present our guests.
Thank you, Catarina. Hello to you all. Good afternoon. So we have 4 colleagues in this round table, and I know that Professor Pedro Nobre did a little bit of introduction before. I'm going to try to summarize a little bit, but to give you some details about the academic professional pathways of our invitees. So I will start with Professor Nazmi Al-Mashri, which is online. And he is a professor of language education in the Faculty of Arts at the Islamic University of Gaza. And in the past 32 years, his academic and research interests are, among others, online language education, education in conflict contexts, inclusive education, early childhood education, and education for sustainable development. He also served as a principal investigator and co-investigator in several EU-funded capacity-building research and mobility projects. And Professor Al-Masri is currently an honorary fellow at the University of Glasgow School of Education. I will pass now to Mohammed Ali Absuri. He's a lecturer at the Arab American University in Palestine and he's a PhD researcher in health data science at the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Porto. His research focuses on applying machine learning and artificial intelligence to healthcare. He has experience in health informatics, data analytics, and clinical decision support systems, and he is actively engaged in international research collaboration between Palestine and Portugal. The next guest that we have is also online. Is Yahya Zoharid Abuda, and he's a consultant physician in internal medicine at Santarém District Hospital, and he coordinates the home hospitalization unit. He graduated in medicine from Nova Medical School in the Nova University of Lisbon, and completed specialist training in internal medicine. His clinical and academic interests focus on chronic disease, aging, integrated models of care, among others. He is member of the Portuguese Society of Internal Medicine and a founding member of the Portuguese Society of Home Hospitalization. Last but not least, our colleague, Damien Ross. He is a lecturer in English language and supervisor for students, teachers, and at the Faculty of Arts and Humanities here at the University of Porto. He is the project lead of Lines to the Future, a science fiction filmmaking collaboration between undergraduate English students in Gaza and Porto, and co-lead Lines for Palestine, which is a project providing support for students in Palestine since 2024. His academic interests are in teacher identity and language education in context of displacement and migration. He works for over 20 years in language education, teacher education and policy in contexts such as Lebanon, Jordan, Indonesia, Serbia, and Armenia. He holds a master in educational sciences precisely on his major topics, which is English, language, teacher identity, and Gaza. So now we would like to invite our first guest, Nazmi. So all of them will have more or less 10 minutes to for their presentations. Some of them will have PowerPoints, others going to show some movies. And this moment will be followed, if we have time, for some discussion with the audience, and then we will have a closing moment. So, Professor Nazmi Al-Masri, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Let me start by expressing our sincere thanks from Gaza, all academics, all students, all the community for organizing this really a distinguished event, and also all the speakers and participants and the organizers, Porto University School of Education Sciences and Psychology. We are proud of you and doing this. Really, this is something that means a lot to us in Palestine. And a special thanks also to our president, our ambassador, Her Excellence, Ms. Rawan Sulaiman, and all my colleagues who are participating and presenting in this with all of you. Thank you very much. And let me just in the few minutes I have, let me share some of the experiences and thoughts that will hopefully would participate in developing a strategic cooperation between Palestine and Portugal. I will talk about that why we need such collaboration and strategic collaboration. First of all, we need to start with it's a human responsibility. It's not a charity. It's an ethical duty. Second, it's a moral imperative. It's a human conscience. It's universal justice. It's a human rights. It's not silence, because silence means complicity, and silence means passive, and means almost complicity of academics, of universities, of institutions on what's happening in Gaza and in Palestine in general. Because what's happening is racism and injustices. Second, why we need such strategic collaboration. We need it as, first of all, as something, a principle. It's out of principles. We have principles, human principles, because higher education institutions, universities, shape ethical awareness. They shape public understanding through sessions like this and events like this. We are making a change. We are developing and enhancing and shaping ethical awareness and public understanding. Also, it shapes social responsibility through knowledge, dialogue, and in critical inquiry. Higher education institutions are not only centers for education, but they help communities and societies to understand the past, to respond to present challenges, and to collaborate to build more just and sustainable futures for all of humanities. So this is the role of universities. Three, as a principle, higher education institutions are not only space of learning, but also civic actors with ethical responsibilities toward the humanity before anything else, to promote dignity to all humans, inclusivity in our education and in our practices, to promote academic freedom through discussions, through elections, through student elections. I am a graduate of Basri University in my bachelor degree, and I got my master and PhD from Britain. And we all are proud of Basri University and other Palestinian universities for holding elections and the freedom of speech and democracy, etc. Also, we have shared human values among all peoples, among all humans. The next question, once we establish these beliefs and these ethics and these responsibilities, then we should look how. Of course, any partnership, any strategic collaboration needs fund. Okay, before that, after we have the will, or wherever there is a will, there is a way. If we have the principle, if we have the determination, the resilience, then we look for opportunities to achieve what we want. There are two from my long experience in international collaboration with many universities and many countries in Europe and in America. I can say there are three ways of collaboration. No-cost initiatives, volunteerism, where it could be individual, could be school level, department level, university level, where initiating some activities like this, for example, without getting fund for it, it can be organized as a matter of a principle. Second, we could find low-cost initiatives to support collaboration, sustainable collaboration, or to initiate collaboration to be sustainable. Third, we could have funded, fully funded initiatives for projects, long-term project, 3-4 year projects or more, as we'll see in a minute. Okay, the initiatives, how can we get fund and where we can get fund? And I will talk about this, the three areas that I mentioned, or three potential opportunities available through 12 examples, I think, and they all funded, sometimes at covering the three levels, covering no cost, covering low cost, covering long budget, big budget, and large budget proposals. For example, we worked as institution to institution. Porto, for example, to one Palestinian university. Like the University of Glasgow worked with the Islamic University of Gaza on a research project entitled Education in Conflict, where we conducted research and published research in journals and in conferences. Second, national opportunities. Sometimes some countries in Europe offer national or bilateral proposal, fund for a proposal. For example, University College of London and the School of Education offered a small budget, whatever it is. It means a lot to us. Okay, at this time when we feel deserted and we feel helpless, hopeless in Gaza, as academics, as students, as a community. Another example could be EU-funded project, as one of my colleagues has just mentioned. We apply jointly for a project to EU-funded projects like Horizon, Erasmus+, Europe Aid, and others. And that will be multilateral collaboration. 3 or 4 universities can offer virtual research fellowships for academics, like the University of Bristol in Britain offered the 3 scholarship fellowships to 3 virtual scholarships to 3 academics in 3 universities in Gaza, and they conducted or co-conducted research with their colleagues in Bristol University. Also, research fellowships and scholarships like Canada. Alberta University in Canada offered several scholar fellowships to academics in Gaza, offering honorary research fellowships. Most of these do not pay money, and if they pay money, they little money from the school or from the department or from the university where there are opportunities. Honorary research fellowship to where the academic is allowed to access the library, to use email, to use Zoom, everything is virtual. Postgraduate training courses in research, in qualitative research, in using AI in research, and so on. We conducted several courses during the war time with the University of Tampere, Finland, and University of Glasgow in the UK. Co-supervision of students, master or PhD students in Gaza in different fields. Maybe during the discussion, if anybody is interested, we can elaborate in every one of these. Visiting scholar schemes like Irish universities offered for students and for academics. 10, institutional capacity building in research, where students are trained to develop their skills in one area or another area. Even some researchers in universities who have fund maybe for a project, a small fund or large fund, can employ and recruit and involve Palestinian research assistants to collect data, to do the analysis. We have excellent postgraduate students who are doing their master or PhD, like what we did with the Newcastle University in the UK. Online teaching and co-teaching, as already 500 academics volunteered and taught during the war in many courses in the Islamic University, across medicine, IT, languages, education, psychology, etc. Also, visiting online studentship or student initiatives to access science and medical virtual lab. We need virtual lab for our students. As my colleagues already mentioned, the destruction and the scale of destruction is almost total destruction. Digital libraries, all our libraries, online and the print libraries, all gone. Attend online modules, participate in any academic activities. Any activity, even saying hello to students and giving them a lecture, it offers them, from my experience, psycho-academic or psycho-educational support. What themes we can do research on these scholarships, these fellowships, these research, virtual research, fellowship conferences, whatever. We can discuss many topics. All topics are almost, I can say, available. Mental health and psychological support issues, public health initiatives. Nobody can imagine, even myself living here, I can't imagine how people are living in tents for almost 3 years without water, without fuel, without food, without education. We need a lot of diseases emerged and psychological problems emerge, and many other issues emerge as a result of this ongoing suffering. The war is posed, not stopped, or the scale is reduced, but there are many other economic, social, psychological wars, plus the low level of the military attacks and war in Gaza. Filmmaking, film screening activity, and cultural exhibitions about Palestine, like we did with University of Porto. We trained the students from Porto University and the Islamic University of Gaza on how to create and make science fiction films, and they produced the film jointly. We did similar film with Birmingham University on how these Palestinian students with disability were coping and learning and living during the war. Through these activities, we also document the realities and the experiences of what's happening to the Palestinian institutions and to the Palestinian community. One way to do maybe annual Palestine Week or Palestinian Week or with academics and artistic activities with the students from both universities. They can organize this with Palestinian societies, with Palestinian students and their friends in the university. They can lead and organize this with support from academics, from the embassy, and from all involving different non-academic experts, also involving NGOs in the process of this to reach out to communities. We could organize seminars on interdisciplinary issues like law, health, education, and technology. One of the latest thing we did 10 days ago is producing or publishing a book where students of English language department, we train them through volunteer academics in the U. In fact, he is Italian, working in Lithuania. He taught them how to write poetry, and then they published a book called "Let's Throw Away War" as one of the it's taken from one of the poems said by 8 students, and we compiled and published in the UK just recently. Throw Away the War, Voices from Gaza, or Let's Throw Away the War, Voices from Gaza. They are talking about their experiences, about daily life, whatever they like. They are free to talk about what they want, and they produce these poems. Themes: early childhood education and the school teacher.
Sorry, Professor Nazmi, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you could start finishing your presentation.
Yeah, only one slide.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes. Yeah, only one slide. I'll finish. Okay, these are the topics like early childhood education, language and digital, intercultural communication, environment, AI, engineering. Last, I conclude 5 key steps to have sustainable strategic partnerships. Projectize ideas, institutionalize ideas, Palestinize ideas, then globalize them, systemize them. Thank you. I'm sorry for taking a few minutes, maybe more. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nazim. A short idea of this wonderful presentation. So Professor Nazmi spoke about the role of higher education in the civic engagement and in the academic field. And he gave us 3 points that are very important. The why, and here we have a human responsibility because it is moral imperative, and we do not have to silence the others. And then he spoke about the role that the university and higher education institutions have, like to shape, to help, and not to being only a space for learning, but as civic actors with ethical responsibilities. And then he showed us how to build this strategic cooperation, and he showed us that could be no cost, low cost, or funded, and finally show a lot of examples and examples of initiatives for building this kind of partnership. So then we have to move to another another guest. So please, Mohammed. It's difficult to say at lunch you try to teach me. Mohammed.
It's Muhammad.
Okay.
Probably you can't say Muhammad, so I will say it. Hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Abu Zuhri. I'm from Palestine, originally from Gaza, and I work as a lecturer in the Arab American University of Palestine. At the same time, I work as a researcher in the Faculty of Medicine in the University of Porto of MUP. I am working on a project. It's called HFPT, which is Health from Portugal. So we have Palestinians that work on a project called Health from Portugal as a researcher. At the same time, I am doing my PhD in health data science. I obtained two master's degrees. The first, it was in computing from the UK, and the second, it was in health informatics, also from the Arab American University in Palestine. Honestly, it will be very difficult to speak or to make the speech after Her Excellency and Dr. Basri, because almost they said everything that I want to say. Therefore, I will start from another point. First, I would like to thank you all for your attendance and for your support, for your solidarity with Palestine, and thanks for the Faculty of Psychology and Education in the University of Porto. As they said, I will just summarize 2 points. First of all, we are Palestinians. We live since 1948 almost without any human rights because of the occupation. The human rights which were also declared in the same year of Nakba in 48. Since that date, my grandfathers, they were evacuated from area south to Jaffa. So that's why we gave my Portuguese daughter the name of Jaffa Maria, which is like Jaffa the area and Maria is Maria. So in order for one day to, we believe that we will have our rights, and in order not to forget, and we will never forget our rights. Okay, and we appreciate that you are trying to support us to obtain our rights in each single way you can. Okay, so now I will just try to focus on the point that what are the universities in Palestine do, what are their roles in supporting the communities in order to be able to face the occupation of Palestine. The Arab American University, it's a new university. It was founded in the year 2000, especially on the day, 28th of September. It is the day when the Prime Minister, the Israeli Prime Minister, Ariel Sharon, on that day, he entered the Aqsa Mosque and the Second Intifada started. So the university started with too many problems. It started with financial problem, and it started by 250 students only, and now it has like about 12,000 students in all different levels. As also Her Excellency said, we Palestinians, we live with hope. So hope is the only thing that we have, and we also know that our dreams of better future for our kids, our dream of or hope for liberty, for justice, for freedom, they won't come alone. So we have to work in order to achieve or to reach these hopes. And the biggest asset that we have as Palestinians is education. So with education, we can prepare a generation that will be able to stand against the occupation and to get their rights back. The universities in Palestine, so the case in the Arab American University, as same as the other universities in Palestine, they all believe that they have an important role to support the communities there in Palestine. For example, what are the things that the Arab American University apply to support the communities there? First of all, we have a very big prosthetics and orthotics factory, which deals with the local community. It was found first to support the students that they study prosthetics and orthotics. But then the program and the factory functioning, it was developed in order to support the community. And we will have a short video, sorry, it's in Arabic, but it's with English subtitles. This short video is presenting a success story for a young girl in Palestine. She's, I think, 8 or 9 years old. She has like a dermatology disease, and she lost one of her legs, and that factory replaced her legs with an artificial one. So can we just switch the video on?
سامع بنتي مرض جلدي ومع الايام ومع يعني عالجتها وهيك طول مع ايش المرض الجلدي وصار مع بتر بالاجر. يعني من بنت عمرها 9 سنوات، يعني تعرف طفله هاي بدك تلعب مع الظابط، بتنساش تدور عند العدراج، بدك تحملها، بدك تنزلها، كل خطوه بدك تمشيها بدك تكون معها، بدك تحملها، بدك توديها على الحمام، بدك توديها تلبس، بدك توديها على المحل على الدكان بدك تشتري، بدك يعني كل خطوه بدك تكون اجرها الثانيه. يعني دلوني على الجامعه الامريكيه بجنين، حكوا لي في الطرف الصناعي بجنين، وحكوا ما شاء الله عنهم جماعه عندهم شغلات كويسه وظروف منيحه عندهم، يعني بزبطوا الاجر خلتها تمشي زي اول، وتعامل مع الصغيره كأنها بنتهم ولعبوها، ما شاء الله عنها. لما جهدوا الطرف الاصطناعي يعني اخذت عليهم، مش ان البنت اللي تخاف، كانه اهلها. تلفت 1,000,000%. يعني كيف كنا نحملها ونقيم ونحطها، لا هي بتقيم بواجبها، تلعب، تروح على غرفة القعدة، بتروح على الألعاب، بتلعب مع الصغار، بتروح على المدرسة، بتروح على الدكانة. يعني في فرق كبير، يعني وفر جهد كبير ما شاء الله، رجعت كانت يعني حياة طبيعيتها.
So this is the first example. What are the universities there they offer for the community in Palestine? The second example is how they support the healthcare, not only with helping people like this, but also we have the Heart Center, because we believe in the Arab American University that each second will make the difference in the heart attacks or heart strokes. So we have a dedicated heart center with the American Heart Association in cooperation with them. This center, it gives for the students mandatory, for the students in all the clinical fields, they give them the mandatory training courses for how to deal with the heart strokes. Also, they exceed the students and they go for the community, they have sessions, they train people there how to deal with these heart strokes in every way. Another example is on for the medical dental center. We have a comprehensive medical dental center in the university that offers the dental services for all the local community. Just for it's like educational center, and this center offers its services for all the local community and for free. So just it's for without any costs. Also, we have medical rehabilitation center, including the physiotherapy and occupational therapy, to try to deal with the people who are injured from the occupation or the Israeli military and or any other injury there. They also help people with how to recover from their injuries. Also, we have another success story in the academic side. So we have we have 2 active joint degrees. The first one, it's PhD in business administration and Master of Business Administration with the University of Indiana, Pennsylvania in the United States. Also, we have a bachelor degree with corporation. It's with corporation of Verona Academy. It's for the interior design and interior decoration in Ramallah. So we have, and also we try to make our students believe that they have a role with the community. So each student will enter the university. Before the graduation, they must fulfill 100 hours of community service. Okay, so we have too many examples. Maybe I will just take like 20 or 30 minutes if I want to mention them, but these are the main ones. Now we will go what we can do, or what we have to do. Or I will just modify and forget everything I wrote here. I will start from what Dr. Nazmi said. Dr. Nazmi said or proposed that we have 3 stages, which is no cost, low cost, and funded one. I say that we can do all of them. We can do the low cost, the no cost, and the funded, but before we have to find or to establish a committee, like a steering committee. We have the BDS, which all you know, and now we can make, instead of BDS, we can make PPS, which is Palestine Portugal Solidarity, okay? And we will establish, or we can establish a steering committee that will arrange with the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Higher Education in order to focus on the areas that we have shortage in. So I would like to thank you all again, and thank you for standing with Palestine, and
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. I think that you are a very good example of how the lines of interaction between and collaboration between Portugal and Palestine can be developed, can be built. And in the University of Porto, we are always very proud of our international students, so you are a very good example for us. So you mentioned a lot of things, and you follow a little bit what Nazmi also was saying about how can we cooperate, but you focus on the example of the Arab American University and how you are working, and you show us how this work from this university as an ecosystem, and not just training students, but also working a little bit more on the community as well, but also in this possibility to have a tomorrow. So education for young people to understand that they can have a tomorrow, the hope that you were mentioning. And I think this is fundamental for future generation of Palestine. I think that we had that in the past when you have generations of people destroyed and you have to build everything from the beginning, from scratch, exactly. And then you mentioned the role of education in this matter. And that's why libraries, schools, universities are destroyed, because they know that it's from education that you start building also hope and the nation. So you refer also the role of the university and research centers into the community and to contribute to better lives, and this aspect that I found very interesting, working with students to find their place in the society and their role in the society. So thank you. So we have to go on to our third guest, Yahia Zohahir Abuda, which is also online, although he's in Portugal, but he couldn't be here with us. So please, the floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to participate in this important session. Special thanks to Professor Dr. Pedro Nobre and Madam Ambassador Rawan Sulaiman, and for my colleagues of this table. Okay, I will try to do it in English. It's not my first or even second language, but I will do my best. And I am a doctor, as you know, so I will focus in the health system. I think to achieve our object, we have to know some information about the health system in Gaza, before and after 7th of October. Not to say many things, just a fast introduction. It didn't start today or yesterday. It has like 100 years of story. And Gaza, we have to understand that a very, very important date, it was in 1948. It's the Nakba, our Nakba. And if it affected Gaza, yeah, the concept of Gaza, it's a new one. It appears after 1948, and Ilan Pape explains it very well. In the recent story of Gaza, we have very important dates. We will focus on 2007 because it affected a lot of things of Gaza, and I'll try to show you some information about Gaza. Just to localize, it was one of the most densely populated places on the earth. So, and it was divided in these governorates. West Bank, bigger, divided in 11 governorates, but just focus on the yellow zones. It's 18%, which is with our authority, the Palestinian Authority. And what about Gaza pre-October 2023? It had a functional, although heavily constrained healthcare system. So we had 3,500 beds, no communicable diseases such as chronic disease, hypertension, or diabetes. A problem in chemotherapy by 2018. We had depression prevalence. It's normal in that place with a blockade of 17 years. And this was a reality of Gaza, okay? It's like a big prison with we see it's surrounded by Israel everywhere and controlled even the sea, okay? So there is no free fish up there. When we are talking about the access of truckloads entering through Gaza, we can see that since 2007, Gaza blockade, the numbers are decreasing. Yeah, so it's from Rafah or Karam Salim or through areas, and these are the dates. Then another important thing, children in Gaza. So we didn't have malnutrition. We had like a good health system, but not sufficient for children. And this is the actual panorama of Gaza. Okay, the people that most densely populated place is even worse. It's less than half the area and with nothing of infrastructure. And just a fast example of that declared humanitarian zones. You can see in less than half a month, they declared 3 different humanitarian zones. The first was the purple, 3 days after it's the blue, and 9 days after it's the green. So in 10 days, the people had to move 3 times, okay? And then it's not to talk about genocide. It's obvious, but in this moment, it's official recognition for medicide. Okay, we have this systematic destruction of healthcare, and how? Also, it's not about Gaza. Here we can see we have attacks in Gaza and West Bank. We have like 900 attacks in each, with affecting the facilities in both of them. Then, if we ask about the healthcare workforce before 7 October, we had 16,000 healthcare workers in Gaza, with 32 hospitals, I think. And the distribution was like this. The majority, it was for the Ministry of Health and then another organizations. So we had systematic attacks. These attacks, the result was 94% of health facilities are damaged, 50% of the hospital non-functional, and 0 fully functional hospitals. Killed categories. The number is not updated, but the last number that I have, it's this one, almost 1,070 people from all categories. We are talking about 17.5% of workforce. This is the impact of the number between killed, detained, and left Gaza. So nearly 1 in 5 healthcare workers killed, detained, or forced to flee. When we compare this with another conflicts, there is no comparison. There is no possible comparison. Just looking to Gaza, Syria, Yemen, the COVID, the Ukraine, there is no comparison between these systems. About the detained people, we have still detained 205, and we are talking every day. This is the photo of some of the doctors, but we are talking every day about these people. They are workforce staff. They are not activists or politicians. And about leaving Gaza. So we just looking to the numbers after 7th of October. It's drastic. No conditions. And so we have like 6% of pre-work workforces leaving Gaza. So in summary, and a special attention for the specialties. What we need a lot of doctors, of a lot of specialties. Nephrology, 100% eliminated. Cardiology, 67% eliminated. Orthopedic, it's severe. I think in infant orthopedic, there is just one. Plastic surgery, 75% eliminated. 105 senior physicians killed or detained. So it's like 23% of most experienced doctors in Gaza. And this is the panorama of this sad situation up there. About life expectancy in Gaza Strip, it decreased by 34.9 years during the first 12 months of the war. It just makes us remember something very bad in the history. It's Rwanda in the 90s. The children's in Gaza, many problems, okay. Killed, we know the percentage. Children who lost father, who lost mother, who lost both of them, so it's catastrophic. When we look to another situation, the static of amputation, and my colleague Dr. Muhammad talked about the one case in the university, that we have this huge number, and the Gaza Strip now has the highest number of child amputees per capita anywhere in the world. When we talk about the aggression on Gaza Strip, on the facilities, malnutrition, it didn't exist before October 2023. We have these cases. Mortality and injuries. So in Gaza and in West Bank, it's not about Gaza only, okay? And this is the summary of all of the numbers. So we have more than 50% of fatalities in children, women, and elderly, okay? So after ceasefire, it's not a really ceasefire. We have Israel violating the ceasefire almost every day. When we look, the attack nearly every day of the ceasefire, killing people also. Continue to restrict aid. When you what it was supposed to enter 600 per day, and when we look to the numbers, it even doesn't arrive to half of this number. Okay, remembering Dr. Hussam Hamada, he was left bleeding 2 days to die. This whiteboard, normal used for planning surgery, what is written there? So remember our colleagues, professionals of health in the prison or in Gaza, in Israel. Okay, talking about what we will do. Here, I am not going to talk a lot because Dr. Nazmi and Dr. Muhammad explained a lot of things. But the point of health here, it's a public health crisis, vectors and wastes. We have prevent rodents, pets, skin infections, diarrhea, hepatitis A, chicken pox. So it's a public health crisis because we have a lot of tons of solid waste across Gaza, proliferation of rodents, displacement sites with rats. This image that we have, it's from a baby with lesion caused by a rat. So, and the mass graves as a public health hazard. Reemergence of polio, the hepatitis, as I described, the other infections in these conditions. So there is no clean water, no infrastructure, so malnutrition, a lot of factors that contribute to this panorama. By the way, the photo up there is from my hometown. So another impact on the children is generational trauma. 50% of the children already need mental health and psychological support. Already needed before October. So we have to imagine the situation now. Highest rate of child amputation on the world per capita. Here I have some imagine of Dr. Nazmi talked about a lot of experience with where we can inspire, and we have the GINA. It's about breastfeeding and infant nutrition. And the actual president of GINA is Portuguese. It's Dr. Monica Pina. So we can inspire with them. They already have a team working in Gaza. And the other is my colleague who gave me a lot of...
Sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but if you could wrap up a little bit and...
we can inspire with my colleague Jonathan Montoli and his colleagues Professor Roberto Duvoglio, and they have a lot of research about Gaza. They have this remedy for Gaza that we can inspire with them and try to make it here in Portugal. It's not political. It's a human thing. In health, partnership, telespecialty, medical hubs and logistics, medical evacuation, continuous training of Gaza, especially for trauma and reconstruction, education. Dr. Nazmi talked a lot about this, so I'm not going to repeat. And the civic engagement. The idea of PP, Portugal Palestine organization, it can substitute this one, Portugal for Gaza. And the conclusion is to try to approach these things to achieve some collaboration and real help. And this other inspiration that we have with Mahmoud Darwish, think of the others. As you prepare your breakfast, think of the others. Don't forget the pigeons' food. And thank you all.
So, thank you very much. And before our final guests, I'm going to do a little summary about what we have heard. And I'm going to start by almost the finishing. Because as Hiam had said, it was an unprecedented conflict. And for us, that we testimony this conflict, I think the big things that you show us was the numbers and a lot of new data that some of us don't know those specific data, but for me it was the change and the needs that these children will live in the next years and the following years. So we have to do, as you said in the last slide, we have to build some strategies and some cooperation between your country and ours. So finally, our last guest. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm just starting my presentation. So, hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me again. It's very nice to be here. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you to the Dean especially, and to the Rector-elect, I believe. Thank you to new friends in the embassy as well, who I met over lunch. It's really good to see you here and to be here. I don't work in this faculty. I work in the Faculdade de Letras, the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, and I've been working with projects involving Palestine and Palestinians for around 20-something years. Some of that time I was based in Jordan and Lebanon, but more recently, in the last few years, I've been working mostly in collaboration with the University of Glasgow and the Islamic University of Gaza on a range of initiatives supporting education in Gaza. Today, I'm not going to talk about this project in as much detail as I'd like to. I'm going to talk more about the value of projects like this and maybe some thoughts on how to approach them. Since last April, I've been working with a group of students in Gaza and a group of students at my faculty, English students, undergraduate students, mostly in their second year. They're working in small groups, as I think Nazmi mentioned earlier, making science fiction films together, which may sound a little bit strange, but I'll tell you a bit more about that another time if you want to understand it more. You can find out more at the website, which is shown there, linestothefuture.com. I'm going to start with a metaphor which is taken from one of the films. This film is called Beyond the Ink, and it was written in collaboration between students in Gaza. It was nearly all filmed, not all of it, but it was nearly all filmed in Porto because the students in Gaza weren't able to do the films. It's taken from the idea is taken from Sylvia Plath, who I'm sure some of you are familiar with, and it tells the story of a young student in Gaza sitting in a tent and looking at her notebook and reading the Sylvia Plath poem, which says, "I saw my life branching out before me like the fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked." In the Sylvia Plath story, she then sees the image of a married life and being a successful writer and various things. The students in Gaza chose these images, which you can see on the left there, thinking about studying, technology, spacious rooms, teaching, and so on. And the protagonist gets to inhabit each of these roles. That's the sci-fi side of it. She transports herself into each of these students. But the Sylvia Plath poem ends with the figs rotting and falling to the ground because she didn't make a decision about what she wants to do. But these students turned that around. I don't know if you can see that there. Maybe it's hidden a little bit on the side. But essentially, the protagonist decides not to choose one of these lives, but to plant a fig tree in Gaza instead. This is and we talked about this a little bit over lunch, the idea of students gaining skills and knowledge from abroad, experiences from abroad, and using them to support their communities in Gaza. And I want to use that as a way to think about these type of collaborations. Really, I'm just going to focus on the value of bringing students together in this way. This is what the students in Gaza said was most important about this project. First of all, a platform to speak about the genocide and to talk about personal struggle and loss to people who listened. Those are the other students, the students in Porto who listened. They talked a lot about kindness. You can see some of the quotes on the right there about the importance of a safe space to escape, to think about other things. One of the we didn't plan for this at all, but the project became a space for sharing poems and other writing with each other and building confidence that way. And it also became a space for networking and finding guidance in other areas, advice on scholarships, advice on creative writing, opportunities to share their work more publicly. In fact, the publication Nazmi mentioned involves some of the students from this project. Also, very important to talk about what the Porto students said they got from the project. Again, the emphasis on kindness, how caring can be important. A lot of the students were shocked at the work ethic of the students in Gaza, and shocked and inspired by the work ethic of the students in Gaza. Again, kindness and also just friendship in general. The student talked about having better understandings of ideas of things like hope, dreams, and saudade. There is, in the project story, if you can read it on the website, there's a very nice exchange about the concept of saudade, and also a poem written by a Gazan student about saudade, entitled Saudade, in fact. And as I mentioned before, that they enjoyed the poems a lot. Adding a new layer of deeper understanding of what's happening in Palestine for people who are already engaged in it was really important to a lot of the students in Porto. And uniting people and breaking down barriers to communication. as well. So, I'm just going to talk about some key elements of the project in case you're thinking of running something similar. The creative outputs are really important. First of all, I mean, there's the idea of giving a platform to the students, but also for a sense of purpose, accomplishment, and shared accomplishment as well. So we need to make sure we plan ongoing time for keeping these outputs on target and so on. We were constantly providing them with little tidied up versions of what they'd done to show what they're achieving to keep things going. Obviously, you need to be flexible working on projects like this. Deadlines were missed. We had lots of students who withdrew at various stages. Messages ignored, workshops and meetings are rearranged, and so on. And so we had we've already seen from the other presentations the effect of the genocide and the medicide and edgicide in Gaza. But it was also emotional struggles among students in Porto and the project team as well. Building genuine connections and trust had to be factored in to the project. So whether that was through open forums like WhatsApp groups, but also just organizing meetings where we would just chat about anything. And a really important part was individual support for the students. So every time someone didn't turn up, didn't show up for something, we would contact them individually, see how they were, and see what was happening with them. The students really, really appreciated that. Some of the challenges at this end were a lack of institutional support. I'm not going to talk about that too much. Again, not in this faculty. But yeah, it was a little bit difficult generating interest amongst my colleagues. Time, this is related. Time was a huge issue for me, for all of the students on both sides, because we were mostly doing it in our free time. It was essentially working two jobs at the same time, and problems with logistics as well. I didn't prepare the students in Porto well enough. We did sessions with an expert on psychosocial support and trauma, someone who works with refugees, for someone from Lebanon working with refugees, with experience of working with in crisis contexts. We also did familiarization with colleagues in Gaza as well. But I didn't really foresee the difficulties that there would be in terms of just being able to express yourself, and we all felt it. There's a nice quote there from one of the Porto students, Mathilde, who talks about just the feeling of not really knowing what to say, but trying to force yourself to, and the comparison of lives and so on. And that causes, obviously, it's difficult to say this when you're working with people who are suffering so much more, but from a Porto perspective, you need to think about exhaustion, trauma in the team and in the students, and a sense of helplessness. So, just to end on a more positive note, if you're planning to do this kind of work, don't hesitate in making contact if you're not sure what you can offer. The partners in Gaza are experienced, open and flexible. I work with Nazmi a lot. He's amazing. They're open to everything, even a sci-fi project. Have very open minds, and they'll tell you what they need, what's missing, what ways you can provide the support. The act of collaboration is of value in itself, as Nazmi mentioned, psycho-academic solidarity, reducing isolation, different perspectives, and often one thing that was really important to the students in Gaza was having external validation, people listening to them, talking to them about their work, their poems, and so on. Seeing that they were having an impact on a global stage was a huge thing. And the other thing is, even if you don't realize that the students are watching you and learning just from seeing what you're like, learning about maybe international norms and audiences, and they enjoy commenting on that side of things. The benefit can and should be mutual. Projects should be approached with this in mind. Your students, your researchers, you will benefit more than counterparts in Gaza. Relationships and networks, really, really important. Mohammed mentioned the idea of getting a steering committee together. My kind of opportunity to do this project comes from people I know. It's just from contacting people, and the same reason I'm here as well. It's just from networks, and whether that's in Palestine or in Portugal, really, really important. Maximize opportunities to offer platforms. Comes back to the concrete skills side of things, involving students at all stages and providing support in dissemination skills, whether that's presentation, whether that's creating social media posts, podcasts, those kind of things. Telling the story of the project as it's happening is a key part of it. And like I said before, working in education in crisis contexts is challenging, and you need to work with partners to plan the right support for the project team, trainers and teachers involved in both countries. When I did my dissertation with teachers in Gaza, one of the first things we talked about was the trauma that the teachers suffered from the sense of responsibility they have for their students. And you feel that yourself as well. These questions look a little bit aggressive now, but they're not meant to be, Pedro. They're more for us to think about together. Taking a public stand is really important, and I'm really, really happy to see this today. A second event here, and to be invited as well. So we need to, as Mohammed said, how can we use this to build a network across disciplines, including in areas like media and communications? These are really, really important. Which areas is this faculty considering focusing on in the short term? We have a meeting with Nazmi and Sophia next week to look at that in more detail. How can we use those examples then to encourage others or involve others? And what support can this faculty give to other faculties as well? Like from my own personal point of view, you've given me a lot of support, and it's very, very important. Please visit the website or contact me with any questions or ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Damien. So this is a good example of possibilities of engagement that start in a very simple way, but makes all the difference. I think this, your project, and I know not very, very well, but I know quite well your project because you already also presented here in another time. But this idea of bringing students together and share a common ground, I think this is wonderful, and around a common project. And although there are many obstacles, as you mentioned, I think that what grows from these kind of initiatives is very inspiring in many, and takes many forms, as you also mentioned. And I think that your last slide is also a call to all of us to be more engaged and collaborate. I think that we have some time to open the debate and open the floor for you that are here attending, and to make some comments or some questions to our guests. So please feel free to raise your hand, and we will take notes about your willing to participate.
There's one there.
Thank you so much. I think everyone is a bit ashamed of talking, so I'll just start. I thank you very much for all the interventions. My heart is hurting at the moment, like I believe all of us in the room. We know what the situation is, we know it very well, but when we hear people that are in the ground speaking about what's going on for so many years, I think it's completely impossible to be indifferent. I work at the Faculty of Engineering, so next door, and I would like to share that we have started our way of cooperation with Palestine. It's just a one initiative, but I want it to be a lot more. And now I am very inspiring for all the ideas that we received from our guests. Just to share with you, I brought it. It's a memorandum of understanding that we made with An-Najah National University in Nablus. I met Professor Hamed Basalat, he's a physician. I met him during a mobility, an Erasmus mobility trip at Basri Saleh last year. So this is a proof that these mobilities are extremely good to know people and to start cooperations. So I met Professor Hamed, and now, after a few months of discussions, we have signed this memorandum, and we are ready to receive Palestinian students at the Faculty of Engineering. So yeah, I invite everyone to start to do something, even if it's just one step at a time, so it feels our hearts bleed a bit less. I think when we do something, we feel more engaged and we inspire others. So that's what I would like to share with you. We are also trying to submit a proposal to Horizon 2026. I think the call will open today or tomorrow. And we, just like Professor said, it's just that we start to meet people from here and there, and then we have a few meetings, and things happen very organically. So yeah, we are proposing a project, a 4-year project, to study about trauma, vicarious trauma in European societies, as well as direct trauma in the Palestinian societies. So yeah, we'll see what we get from here. We have invited, that's something I would like to share with you. I never thought that he would reply to my email, but he did. Professor Michael Link, I'm sure you know him, yeah, Special Rapporteur. Say again? No, I did. I wrote to him. Yeah, I wrote, and I thought, oh, he will never reply to me, but he did. So we need to try, and he's in our project now, so he will help us, and hopefully we will get funding for that. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Want to make some question? No? Okay.
Hello, I think everyone can hear me. So thank you very much for everyone's presence. I want to make more of a direct question. I'm not from this faculty, I'm from the letters faculty also. And I'm a student of international relations, and one of the things I thought probably would be a good opportunity in an academic space regarding Portugal and Palestine, especially since given my experience in knowing my colleagues and all of my colleagues in international relations across the country, is connections with embassies. So since the Palestinian embassy opened here in Portugal, people always working for, not saying, for example, directly like internships, but things like events, connects with embassies, stuff like that, for example, being able to do visits to other countries, stuff like that, that's always good for people to enrich their curriculum, but also to gain experience. It's also something that the majority of students, and also some academics in the international relations field, are always waiting for. So I wanted to ask if people in the embassy or here in the academic world are thinking about something like that to enrich the Portuguese-Palestinian cooperation that we're talking about. So thank you very much.
It's very courageous to give me the mic again, because if I hold it, I never give it back to you. But let me, well, in my culture, I shouldn't give my back to, thank you very much. I'm not going to do a closing because it will be your mission, Professor Nob. But one thing before answering your question is I am a diplomat for over 30 years, and I wasn't sure if protocol-wise I should say something about rector-elect's presence with us. But excuse my ignorance if this happened. I appreciate your presence, but also to the very end of this session, this is extremely important. This is a message in itself of commitment and determination in the field of cooperation that we are anticipating here today. I'm overwhelmed with too many not good ideas, but excellent ideas that were put on the table today that really serves the purpose why we are here. I myself did not imagine that we can have all these initiatives that already exist, and also excuse my ignorance if I didn't know about it before, but it serves the same purpose that we always look forward for hope, for dream, for possibilities of doing something. And Professor Nazmi, well, of course, all the presentations were inspiring, but these three options you gave us, Professor, you put us in a situation that nobody has an excuse to contribute. Funds are not, fund is not a barrier to a broader cooperation. It is so human connection. It is about our feeling of humanity. So thank you very much. Dr. Yahya, who's always patient with me, because I always, even with my own health, I keep bothering him in the middle of the night. Shukran, you did a great job in your presentation. Thank you very much. Muhammad, this is amazing. You opened eyes for more and more opportunities way beyond our imagination. Doctor, how much I will thank you. Thank you very much, really. It's so inspiring. It's so connecting. It gives us hope that everything is possible and nothing is impossible. I always say that, well, maybe some will disagree with me. I don't like Tom Cruise. It's not because I don't like him. It's because he says mission impossible. I don't believe that missions are impossible. With what happened today, with the discussions that were put on the table, we believe that nothing is impossible, in particular if we have this kind of connection. These spaces opened in Porto University in the Faculty of Psychology as a start of so many initiatives ahead. You are always welcome to the embassy. You are always welcome to Palestine. You can come and visit us. You can join us in our events. Some of them are public, some of them are by invitees. And well, the next one will be on the 20th in another university, in Lisbon University. We will commemorate our Nakba and screen a film called Al-Aida ila Yafa, Aida Returns, but we'll bring it here to Porto University as well. So if you have the time, come to Lisbon, but we will also bring it here. Millions of thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much. You made, usually end of the day, I'm not so energetic. I feel so tired. I don't have words to speak, but with all these inspiring audience, beautiful faces, but also initiatives, you made our day. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, let me just say a final word, because after this, I think I'm obliged to. But I will be very brief. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. And again, thank you, Pedro, the new rector, for coming. And again, I think that now what we need to start doing is thinking about the next steps. And there's a number of ideas already, so I won't say nothing about that. But I will say that as long as I am still the director until the end of my term of the Faculty of Psychology and Education Sciences, I will make sure we will move forward with our commitment and do whatever we can to cooperate as much as possible. So step by step, but committed. So thank you very much, everyone.
Nazmi, please.
Thank you. I can't describe how I feel. Very supported, very encouraged, very motivated, and I will convey everything I've seen, I heard to my students. I have more than 300 students in this course. In the course I teach in language and oral communication skills. Few things I want to quickly flashes to spark. One thing, yes, nothing is impossible, especially for the Palestinians and with the Palestinians and by the Palestinians. We lost everything except somehow education and through our minds. They can occupy and destroy everything, but they can never occupy our mind. They can occupy our land, but never our mind. One thing, whatever little you may do, it means so much to people in Palestine, because they are in a bad need to everything, literally everything, from A to Z, at education level, in health, in engineering, whatever you call it, or you name it. 3, I would like to congratulate Porto University and the Education, the School of Education and Psychological Sciences and Psychology Sciences for organizing this in attendance of our Ambassador, Her Excellency Rawan Sulaiman. Thank you. This is really good. And also through my colleagues from the West Bank and from other areas, and then from also Portugal, Dr. Yahya as well. What I want to say is that one suggestion to concretize and translate all the energy, feelings, ideas, emotions, motivation, principles, ethics, consciousness into actions, because actions speak louder than words. I would suggest to follow an example like Norway. In Norway, Palestinian academics and Norwegian academics established a network under the name of NORPAL. We applied to projects, and this week we got one university in Norway, got 3 projects with Palestinian universities in the West Bank and Gaza. And we would like to invite our ambassador, Palestine ambassador, Her Excellency Rawan Sulaiman, with Porto University, to pioneer this and lead and initiate this. We need to plant the seeds and take care of the seeds of success and determination. And the seeds will grow and become trees. And the trees will have fruit. And the fruit will have seeds in them. And in this way, we have sustainable, strategic collaboration for education. Gaza needs everything, whatever little you may think. Don't underestimate anything, even a WhatsApp message, even hello, even a lecture, even a project. We look forward for partnership, for applying for projects together in any field, horizon, engineering, medicine, nursing, IT, education, whatever. In Gaza academics, you are helping them and helping their students by helping them to go back to academic life. I want to share with you 1 minute. On the 3rd of March, I went to the university. I live in Deir el-Balah in the middle of Gaza Strip. And the administration of the university gave me choice to start teaching blended learning online and in person, or to keep teaching online only. I opted for both, hybrid and online, in person, knowing that there are no transportation. And it's a big headache to go to 17 kilometers from my place where I live. But it takes me 2 hours to go to the university and 2 hours to come back. The minute I entered the university, it wasn't a university. It was a place of tents and garbage and sewage and dirt and displaced families who are trying to shelter the remains of the destroyed and buildings of Islamic University, Al-Azhar and Al-Aqsa, and all universities are now people seeking refuge in all of them. I went to the room where I was supposed to teach. I will never forget this. And I found 100 students, almost all of them are females, are waiting me. I couldn't speak anything for 10 minutes. I couldn't. How these students coming from 10th, everything destroyed except their will, determination, resilience, and mind. They wanted education. I felt I learned the lesson. They are first year students. First time they come to university. And within the 10 minutes, I was speechless, crying, shedding tears. First time I come to academic life, first time I see an LCD and I see a room and the chairs and tables over 3 years. And I took a decision. I will continue teaching in person, and I enjoy, don't say that I enjoy, let me say, I feel I enjoy teaching, and I forget about the pain I face when I go and commute to the university, come back. It's a big headache, 2 hours, no roads, dust, smokes, dirt, etc., and big trouble. At the end of the day, we are making history. And now, today, you are hopefully planting the seeds of brighter future in education, in health, in engineering, and everything for education and for community. Thank you.
So this part is very easy, so we are finishing this session. Thank you very much. But I would like to say a word regarding our faculty, because this is an event that, final word to the executive board or the faculty that is committed with this since the beginning and didn't forget this, and it was committed to fall silent regarding the genocide in Palestine. So I'm very proud also to be part of this faculty. So we will have another moment. I think that we have a break. No? No? We have not another moment. So thank you very much. Huh?